warm welcome to Mike.
A unique year. There might be somebody out there who's got another description for it, maybe, perhaps. Keep it clean, people, okay? Well, Chris, thank you for the introduction here this morning. It's great to be here. Happy Ag Day. And what a way to kick things off today. What better way than to be together? I think it was said earlier, this is something the agriculture community is really used to and loves to, and that's to get together, have a meal. And I'm so thankful that we can do that today. And I know we've got some folks tuning in online as well, and welcome to you as well. But I am just thrilled to be able to stand in front of a group of folks and be able to talk this morning. So thanks for being here. So I get a chance to share a few things that are happening in agriculture, and I will look back a little bit. You have to look back over the last 12 months. But I won't spend my entire time talking about that because, of course, we've been through something significant together, but there's so much promise and so much optimism that we can have going forward. I do want to also congratulate Charlie and Louise and the family. Congratulations. I had a chance to travel with Charlie, I think it was to Cuba a few years ago, on an international trade mission, and have great memories of that. And so congratulations to the Norris family. And Pastor Kathy, what a great prayer. Where are you, Pastor? Thank you. What a great, I didn't know where that was going, but that is a good, I too had my eyes kind of open there. But what a very appropriate way to talk about what we've been through. And now I do have to call out one thing. First Security Bank. Scott McGregor is a great friend of mine, and many of you know Scott, and he's not here, is he? I hope he's watching online, but any day that begins with Scott's face on a placemat is going to be a good day. Love you, Scott. Hope you're watching. And really very, very excited to learn more about what Bushel Boy is doing, and glad that you're here in the state of Iowa. I think those are some staggering statistics, aren't they? About 40% of produce being thrown away, 50% of the shelf life in transit. Think of that. Think of what that means then to have that grown locally. And of course, we can do a lot of things in Iowa agriculture really, really well. And there's a lot of room for growth. And I think this area of greenhouses and produce is one of those exciting areas. So Chuck, thanks for your presence here and for the exciting things that are happening. Well, let me start. I should start this way every time, and that's that I'm so thankful, so grateful for the opportunity to serve the state of Iowa as the Secretary of Agriculture, and I can tell you with 100% certainty that even though we've been through some great challenges, and we've certainly got challenges going forward, I wouldn't trade my role with any other Secretary of Ag in the country. Now, if you'd asked me, a month or so ago, when it was about 15 below, I might have traded with somebody just for weather alone, but I really am so thankful that I get a chance to represent this great state. I've always said it. I believe it 100%. God made Iowa for agriculture. It is so true. Yes, we can clap for that, can't we? And in my job, I get to go out and serve every day as an absolutely relentless advocate for Iowa agriculture, a relentless advocate for technology and innovation, for protecting our natural resources like soil and water, for expanding markets, domestic and internationally, and growing businesses of all shapes and sizes across the state. That's what I get to do every day. Now, today is Ag Day. We've established that pretty securely, but the focus of Ag Day, the purpose of Ag Day, is to bring awareness to every American of the importance of where their food, fiber, and renewable energy comes from, to share an appreciation for how that is all produced, to talk about the role that agriculture plays in our economy, and at the end of all that, to encourage young people to consider careers in agriculture. And so that's what's happening all across the country today in various ways. We sort of expand it to Ag Week, right? We want to do more than just one day, so we're going to call this Ag Week as well. In Iowa, more than really anywhere else in the world, I think we can all understand and appreciate those points, right? What we do, how we do it, and the importance that agriculture plays in our society and our economy. Last 12 months has immune from that. We saw an unprecedented disruption in our food and agriculture supply chain. Just this morning, let's take this morning, for instance. So you had a wonderful pre-made bicardio, correct, egg patty, and you ate something, if you're in this room, you ate something that was pushed through the food service supply chain. And, I always think, most of us in a normal situation, if we'd gotten together at 400 people in a group like this, we'd have had a big pan of scrambled eggs or a made-to-order omelet, you had a big pan of bacon, right? Well, so everybody here ate something that came through the food service supply chain, and everybody was watching at home. Now make sure you get a good breakfast this morning at home. But you purchased your food at the grocery store, what you make this morning. And so we saw a massive disruption away from food service and to the grocery store. Something happened, didn't it? How many of you were restricted in what you could purchase at some point during this year? Did you see limits on eggs or meat products or maybe gallons of milk that you could produce? I won't even get into toilet paper and cleaning supplies. Let's just stick with food, but there is fiber in that. But that was real, right? We went from maybe eating out, maybe buying 7 meals a week, let's say, outside of the home, to making 21 meals in your home. And if you happen to be like my wife and I, who have 3 growing boys, you went from a few gallons of milk to 1 gallon of milk a day, right? And that wasn't even quite enough. We seriously were looking at buying the 10-gallon bag machine. But that disruption, of course, created an impact on our market. Unprecedented challenges met with unprecedented response. And on top of that, unfortunately, we had some historic weather events to kind of cap it all off. A derecho that really went from western Iowa it went from South Dakota all the way to Ohio. From Carroll County to Clinton County, you could drive and see down corn. And then it dropped. At one point during last year, 99% of the state of Iowa was in a drought condition. I know in this area, things weren't so bad. This might have been the garden spot of the state. But if nothing else had happened last year, I'd be standing up here talking to you about the impact of drought. What a difference a year makes. A year ago, we were talking about maybe having too much moisture and concerned about flooding, especially on the west coast of Iowa. And this year, we're talking about, do we have enough water to get going? So, as we round the corner on a pandemic and we start to see a glimpse of what life will look like returning to normal, I have to tell you, we're incredibly fortunate to live in a state like Iowa. Entering into 2020, we were in a very strong position economically. One of the lowest unemployment rates in the nation. We finished our last fiscal year with a surplus and a rainy day fund. I can tell you that we can think about as a state how to make strategic investments in things that are important to us. Broadband, workforce issues like daycare, making sure that we've got a business and tax climate that allows for growth and expansion. Continuing to invest in protecting our natural resources. We're not just focused on how do we hang on, hold on, and keep the lights on. And believe me, there are states not too far from Iowa where that is the types of things that they're talking about. How can they cut? How can they hang on? We can think about growth. We can think about how do we move ahead. And so, believe me, that's a good position to be in, and it doesn't happen by accident. I'm proud of the way that Iowans, and particularly the farm community, has responded to these challenges in the last 12 months. In the midst of, again, an unprecedented disruption to the marketplace and a lot of uncertainty in the markets, Iowans stepped up to help those in need. So today, it's Ag Day. I've called on the ag community to step up, and in that spirit of neighbor helping neighbor, we're calling for Iowans to have a day of service. And so all across the state, there's going to be companies and grower groups and individuals that are performing service projects all across the state. And a lot of those will be focused on food insecurity. I think I'm going to get a chance to see Chuck's facility here briefly, and then I'll be headed to Waterloo to participate in with the Iowa pork producers in a give back event in Waterloo with the community. And I'm also going to be giving an Ag Leader Award to the food banks of Iowa, the 6 regional food banks, and the Iowa State University Meat Lab for the work that they did to provide Iowa-raised protein, Iowa-raised meat to food pantries throughout this last year. And this was an effort that was led by our department together with the governor's Feeding Iowans task force, and it's born out of a situation that none of us wanted to be in. We had excess animals on farms that couldn't get to market, and we had a tremendous increase in food insecurity across the state, and we could bring those two things together. And to date, 1.75 million servings of Iowa-raised protein, mostly pork and beef, has been provided through our food pantries. And I'm so thankful that we have that kind of community that can work together to meet that great need. And that work continues. We're going to exceed that 1.75 million servings. I'm very proud of that. So it's also the spring of the year, right? It's the end of March. I saw a few tractors out yesterday. Feels like it's about time to pull the planter out of the shed. Maybe some of you already have. But I'm always love this time of year, because regardless of how last year went, this is the time for a fresh start. This is the new beginning. Things green up. You can be optimistic. The crop will never be as good as it is right now, right? Right, Stu? It only goes downhill from here. It's as much yield potential as you'll ever have right now. But there's optimism, and I certainly am optimistic. We're optimistic by nature. I get a chance in this job to travel to all 99 counties every year. It's the full grass league that we complete, my friend here, Matt. The full grass league every year. It's a great joy to be able to do that. I have to tell you, the things I see and the people I meet, I can't help but be energized by what I learn and what I see happening in the state. This week alone, I think I'll do 10 or 11 county visits. So we did some yesterday around this area. Waterloo today. I'll be way up to northwest Iowa, Lyon County, Sioux County later this week, and then finishing Lynn and Benton County this week as well. And I'm energized by what I see. So I tell this to anybody that I can. We have something very, very special here in the state of Iowa. We have an agriculture that's worth fighting for. Iowa holds a leadership position in this country and in this world. In terms of our agriculture, we're number 2, only to California, in terms of what we produce here in the state. That might surprise some folks. Remember, California has about 10 times our population and about 3 times as much land as we do, and we're number 2 to them. So agriculture matters to us. 1 in 5 jobs in the state of Iowa, at least a quarter of our GDP, our total economic output, is connected to agriculture. Does agriculture matter to Iowa? Yeah. I bet it does. And while we're very, very proud of those statistics, the Norris family talked about this, we're very proud of what we produce, but it's also how we produce it. And we should be known for how we produce things as well. Change is inevitable. We have to advance. Innovation is in our DNA here in the state of Iowa. I love to say, for as long as we've been raising crops and livestock, farmers and the businesses that support them and surround them have been trying to do it better. And we will continue to do that every year. So, we have something special here in Iowa, but we can't take it for granted. And of course, we have to continue to embrace that innovation and change. And we have to fight against those who would want to see us fail and go backwards. So we'll continue to roll up our sleeves, we'll continue to be optimistic, and we'll continue to work to ensure that Iowa is well positioned to meet those challenges and those needs locally, but also to play our role globally as well. So I want to leave you with 2 final thoughts here this morning, and that's that whether you're involved in agriculture or not, that we have a lot to be proud of. Iowa is truly a leader. We set the standard. We're a leader in the United States and around the world. And that every single Iowan, regardless of where you live or what you do, you benefit from Iowa agriculture. Thanks again for the invitation here this morning, and to the Chamber and all the sponsors who have made this event possible. I look forward to being back some year in the future where we've filled this room even fuller and or maybe expanded, but I'm so thrilled that this is now in its 39th year, and what a great testament to this community. So thank you very much for continuing to hold this event and this great tradition, and thanks for inviting me this morning.